This build is the strongest build in Elden Ring after the 1.06 patch. And not only is this thing good in PvE, but it's also amazing in PvP, especially if you can connect the jumping attacks. It instantly triggers blood loss. On top of that, it also triggers blood loss on the very first hit in PvE as well. I mean, just look at how quickly I kill these enemies. I'm going to show you everything you need to do for this build, but first, I quickly ask for a like on this video from you. It takes you 2 seconds, and for the effort I put in to make these videos for you guys, I would greatly appreciate some love back. Also, if you could subscribe, that'd be awesome. We're coming up really close on 50k, and it's only possible with your help, so if you do help me, seriously, thank you so much. Anyways, to start with this build, let's cover the main weapon and then go into everything else. Our main weapon is going to be the Vulgar Militia Saw. If you don't have this weapon or have never seen it, that's because it's actually a rare drop from enemies you don't encounter too much in Elden Ring. But you'll need this weapon since when you apply any blood affinity to it, it can actually go up to 143 bleed buildup when the weapon is at plus 25. And in case you're not aware what that means, power stancing these two halberds can instantly cause blood loss on one hit. Anything you hit with a jumping attack will instantly be staggered and bleeded. And for this build to be super viable, you don't have to just spam jumping attacks. With the halberd's moveset being so good and with the weapon being so long, your chance to connect a hit is already so high, along with the chance to proc bleed. This is seriously going to make the game easy for you. To get this Vulgar Militia Saw, I recommend going to the Ruin Strewn Prison Pipe and turn around and run back into the cave. There are 2 enemies here inside the cave and close to the grace that you'll need to kill. Remember to do everything you can do to raise your discovery and just kill them both over and over again until you get the weapons. You can get lucky and get them really early, or you can be there for a couple hours. It's really based on your discovery and luck, so be prepared to pull up YouTube or Netflix on the side while you're doing this. Once you have 2, you're ready to upgrade and add the blood affinities. For your offhand, it doesn't matter, just make sure you do anything to raise the bleed. And on your right hand, obviously you're going to want to add seppuku to trigger blood loss whenever you want and raise the damage, which, as you should all know by now, this is broken. In your next slot, I recommend running a seal just to boost damage and have more flexibility in the build. Any seal you want to use here will work. Obviously, some are better than others if you have spells you already like, but for the spells I recommend using Flame Grant Me Strength. Obviously, I'm sure you know about this, but this is just for the added physical damage. And then the Howl Brewery, since this will also stack for extra damage. If you want to spell with range and damage, I recommend using Black Flame. This is easily one of my favorite attacking spells for the damage and the damage over time effect it has, and since you can charge it up, making it all around amazing. Also, this will only cost you 20 faith to use, so you don't need to go crazy high into leveling for the spell. Obviously, if you're already spec'd very high into faith, there's definitely a lot of other good options you can use, like Black Blade. This is an amazing incantation, but that's really up to you. Finally, for spells, if you really want to be overpowered, use Black Flame's Protection. This will give you a 60% physical damage negation, which is absolutely insane. Now for armor, obviously, if you're going for damage and what's meta, use White Mask and use Raptor's Black Feathers, both to increase jumping attack damage and to increase the damage when blood loss is triggered. But if you want to look a little bit more unique and you're not interested in the added damage, I feel like my set matches this build very well. For the helmet, I use the Red Mane Knight helmet. My chest piece is the Sanguine Noble robes. For gauntlets, I use the Brer gauntlets. These are an amazing option for any set, since you don't really notice gauntlets too much, so in my opinion, the look of them doesn't really matter. But since these gauntlets are wrapped in barbed wire, rolling into enemies not only does damage, but can also stagger them, making rolling through tough areas a lot easier. And finally, for my armor set, I use the Astrologer trousers. Remember though, you have 3 options here. You can go with meta and whatever you think is OP. You can go with my look if you think my look's cool, or you can go with anything you choose. It's really up to you. For talismans, this is gonna matter a little bit more. I recommend using the Claw Talisman, since when you're doing jumping attacks, this is gonna give you extra damage. The Godfrey icon, and I only recommend using this if you're using attacking spells like Black Flame, but if you're not gonna use that spell, you can use any talisman you'd like. Next, and most importantly, Lord of Blood's Exaltation for the increased damage when blood loss is triggered in your area. And finally, use Rotten Wings Sword Insignia. This will raise your attack power with successive hits, which comes into play a lot. For your levels, I never like to tell you guys what you should use, so I'll just recommend some levels for you. To use this weapon, at a minimum, you're gonna need 15 strength and 13 dex, but increasing your dex and arcane will also help you with this weapon a lot. Since it has a descaling in arcane, that means leveling into arcane will also boost your bleed buildup, and its best scaling is in dex, so if you level up your dexterity, you're gonna do more damage. You're also gonna need high stamina because you're gonna be doing a lot of jumping attacks, so remember that. And I also recommend at least 20 faith, just so that you can use Flame Grant Me Strength and Black Flame. But these are just the minimums, and you can easily achieve these, so after that, feel free to level up however you like. If you're making a new character for this build, Samurai is gonna give you the best start and closest to this build. Everything else about this build is very simple. When you're using this build, just activate Seppuku before every fight, and Flame Grant Me Strength, and any other buff you'd like to use. If enemies feel too far away, use Black Flame and just charge it up, throw it at them, and it'll do crazy crazy damage. If they get too close, just do a jumping attack, you'll instantly proc bleed on them, or you can just follow up with the halberd combo since it's such a good combo. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this build. If you made it this far in the video, sincerely, thank you for watching. It really does mean a lot to me. I love your support. Let me know you made it this far down below in the comments, and if you could leave me a like on your way out, I'd greatly appreciate it. And other than that, my name is Prez, and I'm out, bruh. Peace.